With what we do as content creators on YouTube, AEW doubled everything analytically with NXT compared to NXT. It wasn't even close. So it's like we're definitely feeling it. I love it. Absolutely love it.
By the way, great question. Now you have Bret the Hitman Hart.
Wow, look at that.
Okay.
Andre's like, I'm more of an Owen, but thank you. I'm more of a Keith Hart.
He's lucky I didn't swipe that out of his hand when he reached out to give it to him. I almost snatched it myself.
Don't tell stuff wrong.
You know, it's funny. I was on Soup last night, but Joey brought this up. He said one of the things he thinks is going to hurt the show for AEW is the fact that nothing happens in between the week. That these guys aren't doing indie dates anymore. So it's basically, it's a lot of young guys that are used to working 4 or 5 nights a week are now working once a week.
Oh, they will be. So they mentioned something about touring at least 100, 150.
Yeah, they're going to tour. They're just not going to keep up the WWE schedule.
Yeah.
Does anybody know the exclusivity of indie shows with these guys now? Because it seems like everybody had a farewell to the indies, like all of them.
I think only the top guys have special deals where they can wrestle in New Japan and stuff. I think most of the ones who are working indies, I mean, my impression is that they will not be doing that anymore.
Like an LAX can't do indies anymore.
Right. Right.
Yeah, since they're on TV
Pentagon and
I know Jericho was just mentioned for Wrestle Kingdom. Right?
But he's got Moxley too, I'm sure.
Oh, Moxley's going to Wrestle Kingdom?
Most likely, yeah.
He's still the US champion.
Oh crap, I forgot about that.
Sorry to interrupt, but speaking of Jericho, I was at the press room earlier for AEW, and he brought up what you just said about New Japan Pro Wrestling. What he said at the beginning interview was that that's going to be his last day in New Japan.
Tanahashi match?
Yes, it's going to be his last day.
Well, that gives away the finish.
Well,
I guess we don't have to watch Wrestle Kingdom.
No, I don't have to watch.
I usually look forward to that every year.
raise your hand. What you got?
I got a question.
Sure.
So, with all of the Young Bucks with the Young Bucks being on TV every single week now, how do you think their matches are going to be? Do you think they're going to become too formulaic for the fans? Are they going to get exposed because it's like a bunch of super kicks every single week? And it kind of just took the other match on Wednesday night. I felt like LAX kind of did more of the work than the Young Bucks, but that's just me. Any thoughts?
I have to agree, but before I give my thoughts, what about all three of you?
I don't think the Young Bucks are going to be on every week, so I don't think
Exactly. I mean, they don't have to be. They don't have to be on television every single week. They have said that we've only seen, what, 40% of their roster or something. They've made comments that make me think that we've only scratched the surface of the roster itself. There's no reason for the Young Bucks, there's no reason for Omega to be on TV every single week. But yeah, they're going to have to evolve in some way.
You know, speaking of that 40%, how many of them are exclusive?
I'd say the majority of them, most likely. Yeah, I'd say the majority. I mean, all but the top guys, I think, are going to have to be exclusive. They don't want them to go work indies and they get hurt. Look what happened recently with Phoenix. He was working, this was before All Out, and they didn't know if he was going to be able to make it or not. That would have been a huge loss. They already lost one match because of the Moxley injury. He got
It was a huge match.
and that was one of the biggest, that was the co-main event on the show. So I don't think they want those guys working indies if they can avoid it, but the top guys I'm sure have special deals that let them go make money somewhere else.
You know, another thing I wanted to bring up was the ad breaks during AEW. How excruciating was it for us?
During AEW?
They did seem to have a lot.
It was a lot, but you know what? The thing with NXT is they promoted limited commercial breaks, which is great, but after that first half hour of the show, it wasn't as though, well, we're not going to have as many ads. No, they had the ads, but they basically backloaded them. So the second hour wasn't short for me to get through because there were so many ad breaks on NXT. It was a gimmick that worked for the opening, but it wasn't as though, well, we're not going to have any ad breaks. No, the two women's matches were really hurt by that. The two women's matches, I think I read there were 6 to 8 minutes of commercials for both women's matches on NXT.
But the thing is with NXT, they promoted limited commercial interruptions, and the picture-in-picture still doesn't do anything as far as I'm concerned. And at least with AEW, Shivani and Jim Ross, Billy Ross was like, we're going to be going to commercial break in just a little bit, so at least they set you up for it. And the only time I minded it during AEW was during the women's match, because I was actually invested towards the last couple of minutes of that match, especially when Nyla came off the top rope and did that big dropping knee on Riho when she was draped over the middle rope. I'm like, why am I seeing the best part of the match during the commercial? Like, yeah, the only time I was invested in the match, otherwise it was a boring match.
Do we know who the showrunner is for AEW? Like, who's the actual head producer?
I think it's probably Tony Khan and Cody.
I think Khan is the one who's timing the show backstage, and Cody, after his match, I think filled the same role, I believe.
I'm just wondering who's in the gorilla.
Billy got two.
There were pictures with Tony and Nick on the.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious because that's a production call too, isn't it? I mean, essentially for television.
Yes.
By the way, was anybody really surprised? Because I actually thought NXT would hotshot title losses to offset AEW, and that actually did not happen at all.
Yeah, I thought the one that
Not a single one.
I think the one that would have been most likely was going to be the women's. So I was surprised by that they did a straight finish. She submitted her.
Yeah.
I don't think Shayna's ever losing that title.
It just doesn't seem like.
I like it. Actually, it really interesting. You know, very quietly, she's becoming like one of the better people you could watch in a match.
I love her. I think she's better than Ronda, to be honest with you.
Well, she's very believable. That's the thing too. Like it's funny because some of the criticism of the women is that it's not very believable. She's a legitimate ass kicker, and you believe she's kind of hard to beat.
Well, what did you guys think about the ending of that match? Like, Morrow on commentary was, Candice LeRae is one of the baddest women on the planet. She's one of the toughest women on the planet. But then she ended up tapping out. It's like, at least have her pass out. Like,
Yeah. Well, they've done that. They've done that with Shirai. They've done that before, right? They've done that.
It didn't bother me. It didn't bother me because we've seen them do that when people pass out. You can't do that every match.
Yeah.
Like, not every babyface can't be the out, I think, for everyone. So when I watched it, my reaction was, oh man, I thought there was going to be a title change. When it didn't happen, I said, well, at least they put that choke over strong. And maybe it's not going to be Candice. Maybe it's going to be... I don't know who else it would be. I'm looking at the roster. I keep coming back to Dakota Kai because there could be an underdog story there. But I don't know. I don't know who or when they're going to... who's going to be the one to beat her. Maybe nobody does. Look what happened with Asuka.
I like this.
Asuka never lost.
Asuka's a good one too. We haven't mentioned Toni Storm. She's there. She's eventually coming.
By the way, I don't want to ever see Asuka chasing the 24 title ever again.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
That was sad. Well, to be honest with you, I was just happy that it wasn't another 5-foot, blonde getting the title. I mean, honestly, it's enough. It's enough. It's enough. 5-foot blonde white girl shit. I'm sorry. It's enough.
Well,
You have 100 of these. You throw a rock, you hit 10 of them.
There is one. Well, she's not blonde. You'll like this. They did have a promo package for Tegan Knox. And there's a good story there.
There's a great story.
She got hurt. She fought her way back. Not blonde, so that
Well, you know what I mean. It's like this formulating. It's like
It's
there's
a
another 5-foot blonde girl.
Yes.
I mean, who's
Yes.
very cute. Who we're going to give the world to.
It's
I mean,
prototypical. Yeah, I get it. No.
Yeah, and NXT is different than that. It's a very diverse locker room. Right? That's the best word I can come up with.
Absolutely.
It's a very diverse roster. They have the UK roster, which is very diverse. We don't need 10 Harley Quinn women. Like, it's just,
No, we don't.
It's absurd.
No, I wanted to ask both. What's some of the most angriest tweets you've ever received?
Personally?
Any, doesn't matter. Oh my god.
The worst I ever got it was when
And
I said,
also, you get Batman, Nightwing.
The worst for me was when I said that Charlotte has had too much plastic surgery, which everyone says now. I mean, I guess I was just I was like, and I really said it in like a polite way. I was like, it's a little disappointing to me because I didn't think she needed to do this to herself. Right. And people just like literally like attack, like were doxing me practically. But now every day someone is saying this. Every time she does an appearance, like she looks like Missy Hyatt. And I'm like, I never said she looked like Missy Hyatt. I mean, that's like going the bar pretty low. But that was for me, which is ironic because now it seems like a very safe thing to say.
What about you, Jason?
I get angry tweets all the time. I can't single out one. I mean, I'll give the most recent one. Somebody got angry with me earlier today because now brace yourself. This is an awful thing. I will think this is an awful thing that I did.
Wait, can you read it out right here if you can?
No, I blocked them, so I don't have anything. But what I did was an impeachable offense. I tweeted yesterday the ratings for the two shows. Right. And I merely said that AEW beat WWE or beat NXT in the ratings. So I get a tweet this morning from somebody saying, you're like in the tank. Clearly you're in the tank for AEW because you said they beat them. It's not a competition. What do you call me? He used an insult. I will give him points. It was actually kind of clever. He called me, what do you call me, like a fathead or something? Like, it was some weird word that he used, and I was like,
You got off easy.
Yeah, no, I mean, believe, I've gotten worse. I'm just thinking that's the most recent one. And I'm saying to myself, all I did was literally state what the ratings were. I wasn't even taking a position. Like, if I had an opinion, that would make sense. But he got so angry, so, like, offended. Like, I had like, cursed his mother or something, and I couldn't understand.
You're an AEW show host.
I mean, clearly I am, yeah. I had one person say to me, well, here's another example.
All right.
They tweeted me, they go, was that an AEW ad I heard you do on your show the other day? I go, I knew you were in the tank all along, and then he used a slur. And I said, well, first of all, I said, actually, I've not had any interaction with AEW. It's actually a TNT campaign.
Well, they did call their match, like the Bucks.
Well, that's right. Well, that's true. But I said it was what TNT did, and I said, again, this is such a sin. TNT said, we have this brand new wrestling show. Let's go to Wrestling Podcasts and see if they're willing to do an ad promoting the debut of this new wrestling show. And I committed the cardinal sin of saying, okay, I'll mention the fact, which I'm doing anyway for free. Now they're going to pay me for it, great. And I did an ad, and I'm doing one more this weekend, promoting the fact that they have this new show on TNT. And this offended this person to his core. Oh my good, you wouldn't believe it.
Wait, I guess we never, Wrestling Soup didn't get that email.
No, I guess not.
You know, JD, I was asking both of them what were some of the most angriest tweets they've ever received. I want to hear you now. Well, yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely from the Alexa Bliss fan base.
See, I get the Charlotte, you get the Alexa.
Well, you know how I feel about Charlotte. I tweeted you about Charlotte. I'm in the same boat as you, but the Alexa Bliss fan base is just on another level. And they actually clipped a portion of my podcast and sent it to Alexa, and she indirectly, and I know for a fact it's 100% about me, indirectly tweeted about me. She's like, she mentioned something about why you so mad or something like that. So I know, I'm like, I know you suck, so it's okay.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because I did a segment on my show last week, and I took a sample of tweets from the Bliss bots, the Alexa Bliss fans,
Yeah, I heard
and the Sasha Banks fans, and these are two very unique fan bases. Unique is a kind word.
This is the Palestinians and the Israelis.
This is the Palestinians really and the Israelis are wrestling.
It's actually
very bad. It's very bad. And so I did a segment where I was just highlighting some funny, like, mean tweets between them. They're going at each other. And I had one Alexa Bliss fan, and I know that he's an Alexa Bliss fan because his name was Alexa Bliss, I think, Guy. His avatar was a picture of Alexa Bliss. His banner was a picture of Alexa Bliss.
There's a Google mic. That's what I want.
Yeah, or like the little newspaper letters cut out, probably, right? So he mentioned, he goes, I heard you mention my name. How he found out, I'll never know. But I heard you mention my name on your show, and not in the nicest way, but like, he was okay with it. And I was like, no, it's all good fun. And I thought everything was cool. And I made the mistake of engaging with this person, which I never should have done.
You had a question, did you?
Well, let me finish this first. So I engaged with this person, and I didn't like Raw last week. There were parts of it I liked. I didn't like Raw. My opinion. I'm entitled to think that I did not like Raw.
I find that very
It's unbelievable. So I didn't happen to like Raw. This person tweeted me and said, "Why didn't you like Raw?" And he wants like me to explain to him why I didn't like the show. And I said, "Well, I just didn't like it." I said, "I liked these two segments, and I thought it just went off a cliff. I just didn't like it." Well, he didn't let it go. He, she, or it didn't let it go. And they're like, "No, like, I don't understand. How did you not like this show?" And he's going through the different segments. I said, "You know what? I think we're done." And I muted him. And I thought that was the end of it. Well, I guess because I wasn't responding, he might have thought I muted him. All of a sudden, I get a tweet from Alexa Bliss Guy 2.
Number 2.
So wait a minute, I said, this is awfully familiar. This sounds like the person, I thought I muted this person. So I blocked that person. And then Alexa Bliss Guy, like, 15 popped up. But I saw what was going on. They created the account.
Wait, how did we go from 2 to 15?
I don't know. They're not very good at math. So, but I thought to myself, it's like, does this person not have a job? Because this was going on all day. And I said, what possesses somebody to be so, like, it wasn't even about Alexa, it was about Raw.
Right.
What would possess somebody to create multiple accounts because they want me to explain my opinion on what I thought of the show? Exactly.
Mental
That's my
illness.
answer. I couldn't come up with it either.
This was the day after.
This was a few days ago.
Tuesday?
I don't remember. No, this was within the
Just send
last.
them a link to the show like you did on Monday. That's it.
Well, yeah, well.
That's it. Shut your mouth.
But it blows my mind that this is how people occupy their time on social media.
Well, but the thing that freaks me out is that, and I see he gets this a lot. My brother gets a lot. I get it a lot. You don't get it as much, or you don't like. I mean, you don't engage it as much. But my thing is like, it's very simple to just not follow something you don't like. I don't care about like Glee. So if Glee comes back, if you love Glee, I'm not going to tweet about how much I hate Glee. I'm just not going to watch Glee. Like I don't understand this notion that you have to express the thing you don't care about.
But then they'll turn around. You know what their argument would be.
No, I honestly don't understand.
Well, what their argument would be, well, how come you watch Raw if you don't like it? Because I didn't like that one episode of Raw. So why then do I watch Raw? That's what they're going to come back and do. Right. Well, I do a show where I talk about Raw, but they don't seem to understand it. But why do you watch it? So because I talk about it. But why do you watch it? I said, are you out of your fucking mind?
Well, my thing is, I always say it comes with the gig. I was like, if I could not watch it, I would prefer not to, but then I wouldn't be able to do a show. And I prefer to do the show, thus I have to watch something that I'm not enjoying.
But you know what's most interesting? Is like JD does Raw reviews, and his Raw reviews go up on YouTube every week. I'll do the odd Raw review on YouTube, but I just did one. I might do one next week, but I decided I can't.
Yeah, you know why you did one? Because it sucks so bad.
I was listening to it today actually on the bus.
I did it because it was the season for me. Woo.
Speaking of it,
But my point is, so he probably gets it like more than I do because I forgot what I was going to say. What was the point I was?
Well, like what I'm saying is, like, if I didn't like your opinion on something, I just wouldn't follow you and I wouldn't care.
No,
I'd just move on to somebody that I care about.
What I was getting at is this, and he'll probably back me up on this. It's interesting when you do a video and you're talking about Raw, and it could be the worst show ever, and the video will do the normal amount of traffic that you would expect it to do. If I did a video talking about how much I love NXT, it would do, if it did half as many views, I would be shocked.
You talked about this on the air, right? Did you say something like this on the air?
I don't think I did.
I thought you did.
No, but this has happened on more than one occasion. I'll talk about, now AEW did very well, because I think right now people are into it. Is it going to be doing the same interest level a month from now? I don't know. But if you do an NXT video, you'll be lucky if it does half of what a Raw video would do. And it doesn't matter how good or bad Raw was that week, because there are people who don't want to watch Raw. They want me to watch Raw. Because they don't care about me. They want me to watch, oh, thank you for watching it. I probably see, thanks. So I watch Raw so they don't have to. And that's part of it also. A lot of people have given up on the show. And one last point. I think it was Meltzer. If it wasn't him, then I'm sorry, but I think it was him. And the numbers that came out for the AEW and the NXT shows, teenagers apparently were way up for AEW. Like at levels that have not been seen in a while, which proves one point, which is that they're still out there. They were just turned off by WWE. They were waiting for an alternative. This is their alternative. Now they're going to stick with it, I don't know. But it's kind of interesting. You would think a lot of younger people, they're not watching TV. Maybe they're watching it on demand or they're watching it some other way. No, they watched it because they wanted something new. The teenage audience is there. They've just been turned off by WWE.
You would think that the demographics would be very alarming to Vince now after seeing all of that, would you?
Well, he's busy with the XFL.
The XFL.
He's getting ready to play some football in a few months.
You didn't even know NXT existed until like 2 months ago. I didn't know it was in the
If he did, it would have been promoted. I didn't see this much promotion during TakeOver New York, and I think that was the best TakeOver of all time.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything about TakeOver or NXT on Monday Night Raw until about 2 months ago, like you said. And I honestly feel, and I talk about this on my show tomorrow, and people are not going to be happy about this, but I don't give a shit. Vince is legitimately trying to kill NXT, and the only reason why he put NXT on USA is because he wants to kill AEW. He doesn't give a shit how he does it. NXT's the way, he's going to do it.
Yeah, but they congratulated AEW. And the goodness, that's a very magnanimous gesture on their part.
You know what? Because they know they failed on Wednesday.
So it's gonna be like the ECW effect when Vince brought it back. You think so, JD?
The ECW effect.
He brought it back to kill it.
Oh, the Kill the Chant? Maybe that's part of it. That was...
ECW was dead long before.
Yeah, but the idea, I remember that. The idea was he was tired of hearing people chant ECW at every show.
Yeah.
So he revived it, and he was hoping that people would look at it as a WWE brand, so when it failed, they wouldn't chant ECW anymore, which of course they still do. Though I wouldn't necessarily, that's not the only reason he brought it back. He wants to make money off it. He thought he could make money off it, he didn't make money off it.
So when NXT fails, who's Vince going to blame? He's going to blame himself?
Triple H.
We all know that this is a Vince decision. If we were to sit with Triple H behind a locked door and ask him what happened here, guarantee you 100% he's not going to be the one to say, you know, I wanted to facilitate this decision, I want NXT to grow. He would have kept NXT on the WWE Network and not go live. Vince wanted this. So when it fails, is Vince going to blame Triple H for this, or is he going to blame himself?
There's no one else to blame.
It's Vince.
There's really no one else to blame.
So what does this mean for Triple H's future if he's the one to be the heir apparent to Vince when he leaves, or whatever happens to him? People in Vince's corner are going to look at Triple H as, this guy can't get the job done. He couldn't even beat AEW. We're supposed to let him run Monday Night Raw, Smackdown Live. It's going to be completely Triple H being shit on by everyone.
I think it's just, at the end of the day, I think it's just about money. What are they getting, 30 or $40 million?
I heard 50.
Could be 50.
50 from you.
It could be as much as $50 million for NXT.
$1 million a show. Yeah.
Money talks. That's why he does what he does. Oh, there's money to be made? Okay, let's do it. Yeah, but maybe it doesn't matter. There's money to be made. $30 million. Easy money.
To say he's not going to blame the talent.
And plus, Full Sail writes those for...
I have a question.
You got a question?
Yes.
Go ahead.
This is an AEW question. I just want to know your thoughts on the commentary team.
He wants to know our thoughts about the commentary on AEW. Kind of refreshing in my opinion.
Well, I think Jason and I feel the same way. When Shivani, within the first 15 minutes, gave me the impression of like, you should be leading the commentary team and not JR. That's all I said on Twitter. The tweet blew up. I love Shivani. Always loved his voice.
I think Shivani did a great job. I mean, his voice hasn't really changed much in 20 years. He has that voice that just screams wrestling announcer.
And I think all of us can agree. Like when you see Jim Ross, I love Jim Ross, probably the greatest of all time. But when you see him on TV, he just looks so
The best heel right now in the business.
Just kind of speaks to you.
The best heel.
I don't want to beat him. When Shivani was on camera,
Yes,
he was
the
so much
best
enthusiasm.
wrestling heel.
Did you feel that way about his New Japan?
Cornette is the heel of Cornette's the top heel
His
of
New Japan work was not his best
He
work.
wasn't into the product.
I thought that this was the best that we've seen of JR since he came to AEW, of all the appearances he's made. But I think part of that was he was maybe motivated by Tony being there. He didn't want to be upstage. You know, they've both been in the business a very long time. And I'm sure there's some competitive juices there. They're friends, they like each other, but you know, there's also that competitive nature. You know, it was interesting, I said this in my review, Shivani was all over the place on this show. He was in the booth, he was in the ring, he was on the ramp. And he really was the Mean Gene, like what Mean Gene used to do on Nitro. They would send him to the ring to do the post-match interviews, they would have him on the ramp or by the stage interviewing the Horsemen or whoever was out there. And that was the role that Shivani played on this show. Now, Mean Gene never did commentary for them, but if they continue on like that, and they have him doing the event centers on their YouTube videos, that's great. I think the more Shivani, the better. And will this announce team work? I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. I think Jim Ross in a three-man booth, he doesn't have to do as much. That's actually one of the benefits of having a three-man booth in AEW. He doesn't have to do as much.
You get the joke.
Yeah. So I liked it. I thought for the first week they did a good job, and I know Shivani won't be doing their next pay-per-view because he's got a football game to call. But they're going to have Golden Boy. You know, they've got a good roster, I think, of announced talent in that company right now. Golden Boy will be doing that next show with JR and then with Excalibur.
I have a feeling they might utilize some of the talent to do that too. Like if somebody's not wrestling, or maybe have them do like commentary, like just to keep people.
I can see a Chris Daniels or somebody.
That's what I'm saying. Like they might have somebody out there for the night, you know, calling pulling stuff, getting involved.
In New Japan, Rocky Romero, that's almost like a Rocky Romero situation.
Right.
He started doing commentary. Him and Kevin Kelly, they're a hell of an announce team, actually. Rocky Romero's great, so I can see somebody like a Chris Daniels maybe over time migrating into that kind of role. He's a good talker.
What do you guys think of Excalibur? Does he not feel like he brings anything one way or the other to the...
I think he needs to get rid of the mask.
Thank you.
Yes.
Maybe he's like hideously disfigured and he needs to keep the mask on.
That's what's involved. I love his enthusiasm. I think he's really good at what he does. Him and Golden Boy actually really impressed me when they were just doing one of the pre-shows. I believe. I forgot what it was. Double or Nothing. I think it was. But no, it was all. Everything was all out.
It was all out.
Yeah. They were great.
Golf guy.
Oh, Marvez.
Yeah, he's done, right? He's done.
He was doing the backstage interviews. And actually, I don't know if you saw this. He did a backstage interview with Sammy Guevara after his match. And I don't know why this didn't air on TV. So he's back there with Sammy, and he's asking Sammy how he felt after he lost, which is the stupidest question. like if I walk outside right now, or let's say it's raining, and a car drives by and it hits a puddle, and I get splashed, and an announcer, Alex Marquez runs up to me. How do you feel right now? How the fuck do you feel? I don't feel too good. I'm soaking wet. So it's a stupid question. But what was funny is Sammy's going off on him, and Sammy at one point goes, "How are you still employed?" And I said, "That's a shoot." But he was asking him why, when Jericho came out and attacked Cody from behind, like you didn't do anything, and he just went. And he walked away, and I said, "Why didn't that air on TV? That would have been a great TV."
That was actually important to the storyline.
It was important to the story, exactly. Exactly. So that hopefully over time they'll incorporate more of that into the show. That if they keep him in the back, I have no problem with that. He seems like a nice enough guy. I know he's a writer because of a writing background. He does articles, and that's fine. He just was never fit for the announcement.
Tony Schiavone actually put him over on Twitter saying that. I don't know if you guys heard, but Schiavone mentioned about the first match on Nitro being Pillman and Liger. And Schiavone mentioned that wouldn't be in his notes if it wasn't for Marvez. So he put Marvez over on Twitter.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. So.
And that may be the right role for him. Yeah. Marvez, he may have all this wealth of knowledge. Yeah, and he can help provide notes and statistics and stuff, and that's great. But as an announcer, they have better announcers. So it's almost like on a baseball team. Let's say the Braves. If the Braves were to bench their best player, why would you do that? Well, we want to play this guy. Give him some time to play. Yeah, but you've got your best player on the bench. Put him in the game. You can't have Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone and Excalibur and have Alex Marquez doing commentary. It doesn't make any sense. So I thought him in the back is fine. Chris Van Vliet as the roving announcer is great. I love Chris. They have a good core group of announcers in this company.
Also, you have a question?
Yes, sir.
What do you got?
Have you guys ever seen a better talker than MJF ever in the business? Because I have.
A whole lot.
There's been. I mean, that's going back a ways.
Dusty Rhodes.
I mean, Roddy Piper comes to mind.
I would say FDR. Truman. If you've ever seen any Truman speeches,
Jesse Ventura.
It was called the Haberdasher.
I would say right now in wrestling, he may be the best.
He's so sharp.
All time though, that's probably not all time.
I mean, modern this century, I don't know. I mean,
who's a better heel? Who's a better heel?
I think it's kind of silly to even say that because he's only 23 years old. I mean, he's got hopefully another 20 years left in him. He could be the greatest of all time. We don't know.
But heel-wise now, heel is so blurred. Like, nobody really wants to be a heel so much. That's why when Brock almost killed Dominic, everybody loved it. Because like when he almost murdered somebody, we were like, this is what the bad guy does. This is what the bad guy can.
And let me also add to that.
Brock is just a savage, so that's
but it's like, but MJF does, but he's a dick. Like, he's like what Piper was.
We were in Vegas. We were in Vegas for Double or Nothing. And we happened to be next to each other for the press conference. Actually, you were sitting in the front row. I think I was standing next to you. And there was a gentleman in a wheelchair. And MJF, he did a little thing where he was basically crashing the press conference. He had a disguise on in a way. He was sitting next to this. Now, maybe I have this wrong, or maybe the guy in the wheelchair came by, and MJF was making comments to him that I won't repeat. But I was laughing. I felt bad for laughing, but I was laughing because I thought to myself, what an asshole. But that's what's missing in wrestling. Like, nobody would have the things he was saying were really, like, really awful. But he's always in character all the time. He doesn't drop it, and you don't find too many people who are that dedicated. I think to like they're willing. Okay, people want to think I'm a dick. All right, cool. Most people don't want people to think they're a dick. I don't want people to think I'm a dick. They do, but that's beside the point. But like MJF, he's on all the time, and I like that. We don't see that very often.
And he's good in the ring too. That's the other thing. He actually is a very good worker. He looks good. He's good. You know what I mean? He's not just blah blah blah.
You did see his Rosie O'Donnell appearance years ago, right?
No.
I did actually.
You did?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I just saw the thing with the woman where she touched his scarf and they ended up moving.
No. This was
I saw that today.
He had to be 7 or 8 years old, and he was on Rosie O'Donnell. He was singing a song. He had this great voice, and Rosie had him on, and he was like this, not wise ass, but he was like this cute little kid who sang songs, and she's asking, "What do you want to do with your life?" And he mentioned, I think he was a wrestling fan, and this video's on YouTube, and people were like on Twitter like needling him about it.
It's the same effect when CM Punk was on that game show when he was.
Yeah, but in this case, MJF went off on Rosie O'Donnell and was calling her names. So, but I had no idea until I saw that video that was him. And you watch, it's a young MJF on Rosie O'Donnell, and of course now he's.
Please tell me he had the Burberry scarf. That would be
I don't know if he had the scarf. I can't remember if he had. He was well dressed, but no, I don't think he had the scarf.
He's a super talent. And they're slow going with it too. They're not hot shotting him or.
He is what EC3 could have been in WWE.
Boom. Yeah. Who? I think I saw him on the train weeping today.
Yeah.
And a sign that said, "We'll wrestle for free."
Yeah, get EC3 to vent, see what he'll do with them.
You can try to get him to a fire.
Is that the bust of the modern days? I mean, EC3. That's
He's one of them.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, but for what reason?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because he made an name for
Because he
himself
thinks he's
somewhere else.
nephew, that's why.
He made a name for himself somewhere else. He comes back home, quote unquote, and Vince knows what was keyed in. Oh, we can't have that. Bury him.
Let me ask you. Let me make.
Same thing happened to Christian Cage. Remember Christian? He
Yeah, Christian is a perfect thing.
Let me make a quick pitch, and I can't even believe I'm suggesting this. But as an idea to resuscitate his career, let's say they play off the idea that he's depressed, he doesn't win matches, he's down in the dumps, he's unshaven, and then one day, Dixie walks in. And she's, talking about it's her nephew. He's down on his luck. I'm here to help you. And they bring Dixie in to be his manager on television. They bring her in as a television character to manage him. They acknowledge, now they would be acknowledging a TNA storyline. But would that not be something you think that could work? If they were to actually bring her as a character on TV, it would get him television time? Could that work? Could that help get him over if she was in his corner?
That's a lot of balls.
It's a lot of balls, and it's not something I would have suggested even a year ago. But I'm all out of ideas of what they could do to help fix this guy.
Listen, bro, that's too logical. You can't be thinking that.
It's such a good idea.
It's too good.
Because I think she could be, if they could build them as a heel tandem, and she comes out as sweet, the sweet Southern lady, and everyone boo Lacey Evans. I think it could work. They're not going to do it. They don't care. It requires too much effort. I knew he was done about a month ago when he was doing a podcast with Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, and they were showing him his new action figure, and he had not seen it yet. And he's holding his action figure, and the action figure has a microphone in his hand. And he's looking at it, and he goes, "Boy, it would be nice if I had that in real life." And just the look on his face, he just felt so bad for this guy. He's gone. He's checked out. Like he knows it's over.
Sorry, guy.
No, I mean, he's collecting a paycheck, but he knows it's over.
I wanted to bring this up since we saw what happened to EC3. Do you think this will happen to Cody once he comes back? Vince will be like, "Oh, you thought you were big shit over there? Come back. We'll see what we can do for you."
Cody's going to be in a tag team with Otis. He rubs his belly.
We'll put you back on the Stardust makeup.
I don't think Cody.
Cody Dust.
I think Cody's comfortable right where he is.
You've been busted. What do you think, JD?
About Cody coming back to...
If he would have come back to WWE.
What they start those things.
You know what it is, though?
Yeah, Vince went up. Here's your makeup, bitch.
They put him in that cheesy mask.
It's good shit.
If you negotiate a deal for enough money, I feel like that's your insurance, because they're not going to bury you if you're making $3 million a year. They have to do something.
Do we know know what EC3 is making to do nothing? Honestly, does anybody know what kind of money they are?
It's 500,000.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't that Forbes article came out a few days ago?
I don't know how accurate that is, but I know. I mean, I read that Anderson and Gallows obviously they re-signed a few months ago. Hey, that was their choice, and hey, I hope they're happy. But they re-signed $700,000 each for 5 years per year. They offered them $500,000. They still weren't going to sign. They were going to go. I'm sure they were going to end up in AEW.
100%.
So they came back at them $700,000 per member per year for 5 years. If they're offering that kind of money to them, EC3, I don't know what his contract is up. I'm sure they'll throw money at him.
Dude, Jinder Mahal got a 5-year contract.
Yeah, but for how much?
Yeah.
We don't know.
But 5 years, though.
But Luke Gallows getting $700,000 a year.
Wow.
I mean, they're just throwing money at people to make sure that nobody else.
Jinder Mahal's
To put that in perspective, I think, what's the highest NXT contract? It's not even 6 figures, right? It's not.
Well, for the top guys, they're making good money.
They're not
I don't know what money. I don't know what that looks like.
The low end is between 40 and 50 grand. That's like
It used to be. It might still be. It might.
so like Matt Riddle conceivably could be making like 16% of what Luke Gallows is making.
Matt Riddle, I think Matt Riddle signed, like, he signed a little too early. Had he waited even like a year, he would have been rolling in the money.
Well, he saves a lot of money on not buying socks
That's true.
or shoes. So like he's got a higher.
I mean, how expensive can flip-flops be?
And he gets rid of a pair every week.
I got a question.
Yeah, I think Matt Riddle, he signed today, he was going to take the big loss tonight.
I think he's on his way.
Yeah, he's signed today.
I think the reason he lost on Wednesday was because he's going to be drafted to Raw or SmackDown.
And I have a suggestion. If NXT wants to beat AEW, I have one suggestion. Stu working on television. That would be AEW.
Well, that's coming.
That'll be good, but it might be time consuming for ad spots.
They can do it. The first 90 minutes ad free, they kiss me. And that's yeah.
What do you think, Stu?
Absolutely not.
Hey, Amy.
Did you put Fox above our heads? The TV show Fox? Fox?
Yeah, the pre-show
Thank you.
7:30.
Be careful, guys, before YouTube flags this video.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, bring that camera over. Sorry.
I do that.
Forgot about that. Sorry about that.
And I would
Speaking of the draft, does anybody have any info or any feelings what they think is going to happen at the draft?
Roman Reigns stays on SmackDown, yeah. That's all we need to know.
Oh, I mean, I just said I think Riddle is probably going to end up on one of either Monday or Fridays. I just don't see what's left for him to do in NXT. If they're moving on from him, he got beat. You got Finn Balor, you got Tommaso Ciampa. Where does Riddle fit into that? And
What about Johnny? I thought Johnny was supposed to get up. Is that not happening anymore?
Don't scare me.
No, that was that the whole. Did he had a whole goodbye and a.
Oh, when
he had
Ciampa
Lord of the Rings goodbye.
When Ciampa got hurt,
Over a half hour.
when Ciampa got hurt, that was
I
the
mean,
end.
he came out a couple of weeks ago saying that he is NXT. He's going to stay in NXT, but if he moves to the, like, why would anyone want to see him on the main roster? He's not going to be Johnny.
Yeah.
Well, EC3 needs somebody to play cards with him.
Now, speaking of endings of NXT, we also got the debut of Jack Swagger on AEW. I know.
That was so nitro of that.
It did nothing for me.
JK looks great, but being that we all know who he was and where he came from, there's nothing but mid-card.
But
That's what we're going to think of him.
As soon as he came on camera, I switched back to NXT.
Oh no, I watched AEW and then watched NXT.
Were you guys surprised with the We the People chant when he came out? You heard it. You heard it.
We heard it in the underground too.
Yeah, but that was something.
It's just
It's 250 people.
That's true, but it's an easy thing for people to chant. Are those same people going to buy a ticket to go see him? No.
Got a question?
Actually, did you guys notice that NXT went 5 minutes over?
Yeah, they gave him all.
Yeah, they advertised that.
15 minutes over.
15
Was
minutes.
it? Well, no. They had, if you looked at the TV listing, they were supposed to go up at 10:15. They went up at 10:09. So they gave them the extra time to go over. I don't know what purpose that served, other than maybe to jack the rating on a little bit, because AEW was over at that point. But
That's so 90s.
And AEW was immediately replayed at 10 o'clock.
that's true.
Oh, they did that shit they used to do with
Well, what's interesting about that, from what I read, I think the replay of AEW did 600,000 viewers, and then in Canada they did like another 100,000. So that 1.4 million is actually quite a bit higher if you add everything in together.
So what does that say about NXT when the replay did 600 plus thousand and NXT only did 890,000? That's pretty bad. And AEW's, I mentioned this on my show, AEW's rating is not that far off from Smackdown Live from where it was, like 1.8, 1.9. They're pretty close.
Yeah. But combined, it's a mediocre Raw. If you take both of those shows, that's barely Raw.
You're being way too generous on Raw.
Well, it's interesting, like the season premiere of Raw.
Do we know what Raw's numbers was?
2.6 million. But on a typical week, like he said,
2.2.
you're lucky to be 2.1.
2.2 is like their number, right?
That's where they've been hovering. SmackDown now will be very different being on Fox. But you wonder also, they have the replay of NXT the next day on the network. Does that hurt them at all?
So what happened with SmackDown tonight? And The Rock, Stone Cold, and who got
Tonight is going to be.
Well, when it's going to be like a 3.5, and at the end of the month, Fox is looking at the right now, and they're like 2.1, 2.2. What happened here? What is WWE going to say? What is WWE going to tell them? How do you explain that to Fox?
They're going to trout out people. This is their tried and true.
Well, when Diesel and Razor went to WCW, Vince McMahon said, we need Diesel and Razor, so we'll just hire two people to play Diesel and Razor. So I'm wondering who they hire to play Stone Cold, and who they hire to play The Rock.
Right, the guy down the street.
Right, and they have to bring them back. And how long it takes the Fox executives to pick them.
Or, this is what I'm scared of more than anything, or do they bring the McMahons back? We've had a McMahon hiatus for a good while now.
We might lose Shane McMahon
Stephanie
tonight.
Free for a good while.
We might lose Shane McMahon if he loses tonight.
Meltzer said on our recent edition of The Observer that Fox is very much in the know about WWE's product. So if they are, then I know Vince is.
If they are, they wouldn't have given him $1 billion.
What a contradiction that was. We're very familiar with your money wasting.
So we're not going to show this on top of the camera, but we got the Miz on TV on Fox right now.
I mean, tonight is a big
On extra.
It's a big night for them. Honestly, everyone's going to forget about Wednesday tonight if this is a big show.
absolutely.
Well, Rock is going to wipe that out in 2 seconds.
His suit looks better than his push.
And look, I expect the show tonight to do very well. I mean, some people were saying 5 or 6 million. I think that's ridiculous. But could they do 4 million? Yeah, it's possible.
You think they could do 4
I
million?
think they could for tonight. I think they could.
With the Rock.
I think they
It's going to
could.
be at the end of October. It's going to be back to 2 million.
One.
Yeah, they can't sustain that. And I don't know if there's a big baseball game or what's going on tonight. I don't remember.
Yankees playing.
Yankees.
So the Yankee game, so that might hurt them. But no, I think look,
We got college football Friday night.
but they're going all out to promote the show. Rock, Austin, Hogan.
Pre-show.
Hogan and Flair were on Raw Monday night. Their segment, and I love how we're getting the quarter-hour breakdowns again, was the only segment of the show. It jumped over 500,000 views.
Yes, I read that earlier.
Everything else, I mean, you look, there's nothing that even came close in terms of like jumping up.
But does anyone else not think that that's really sad?
Of course it is. No, it's very sad.
It's like, it's a testament to how bad it is.
It's very sad, and you can't put them on TV every week. I mean, they could, but I don't want to see that. No, when you have Ricochet in the ring and his match is dropping by 150,000.
Yes, but we see Ricochet and Cesaro 4 times previously. It's like, how many times can we see that?
They're not stars. They're not. People don't see them as stars. That's a problem. How do you fix that?
Well, speaking of tonight, I have to mention it because it's been talked about. Does WWE announce CM Punk tonight as confirmed for WWE backstage?
I think Fox will announce it before WWE does.
I think Fox.
Gonna do it. It's gonna be tonight.
I think it would be tonight. I think it would be tonight. It would be Fox telling them, listen, you need to make this announcement tonight because we want to make the biggest splash. I don't know if he'll be there.
That was my husband. Does he show up? And being that The Rock, well, he actually requested The Rock to call him tonight. Does he show up and meet The Rock face to face?
Oh, God.
Oh boy.
Because he was in LA doing some promotional work for new movies, so he's going to be there.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, if that happens, no one will remember Wednesday. Let's just be honest. That's an even.
Well, look, whatever happens tonight, I think Wednesday will be a distant memory anyway. Because look at all the names they're going to have on the show tonight. So you'll see. We were talking earlier about mean tweets and everything else. The conversation is going to shift. Well, you praised AEW. Where's the praise for how well Smackdown did? And I'll praise Smackdown if it does well, but it's this. Everyone looks at it as a competition. Like you have to pick a team. Well, you did this for AEW. Why don't you? SmackDown did 4 million viewers, and they had CM Punk and The Rock and this and that. You know, I guarantee we're going to see a lot of that. We're going to hear a lot of that. I expect tonight will do very well. When The Rock is not there, when Austin is not there, when Goldberg is going to be there tonight, Sting is going to be there tonight. None of these people are going to be there next week. That's what I want to see then how SmackDown.
Here comes Luke Gallows.
Yeah, right, exactly. When the Revival come out next week, you know, they face Xavier and Big E. I want to see how this show goes.
Well, to be fair, the draft is next week, so they'll pop a pretty big.
All right,
Saving some of that for the draft.
2 weeks from now. Yeah. I want to see 2 weeks from now.
Can I ask you guys a question? Because I never get an opportunity like this, and Julian and I talked about this before. Do you guys think there's an issue with people, and I don't want to throw these guys under the bus because they're not bad people, like the Meltzers or like, you know, Sean Ross Sapp, even Sapp for a lesser extent, when it's clearly obvious that they curry some sort of favor to people in like AEW? Like, I take it back to last year All Out, when I see, like, Bruce Mitchell in a Golden Lover shirt interviewing Kenny Omega, and then saying his match was the greatest match of the year. Do you think that that's a problem? Do you think we need to maybe not attach ourselves to people if you want to be taken seriously? Do you ever get the feeling that maybe there's a disconnect now because Meltzer does have a move, it's a Young Bucks move at this point. So when Meltzer says their match is 75 stars, maybe he's biased because he's very friendly.
It's all a subjective thing. I don't know who is he referencing Kenny fighting in that instance? Like what was the match?
Just like in general, like I go back to, or like I'm using that as a bad example because I know you guys call matches with smaller, obviously with guys that I'm not level.
Yeah. I mean it's all subjective. Like I would never mark out or fanboy like that. Like I'll give you my reasons why I thought Johnny versus Adam Cole and Taker was the best match of the year. And I'll give you my opinion. And I'll give you my reasons. If you don't agree with that, if you want to bring me something else and give me a logical explanation behind it, I'll respect your opinion. But don't tell me this is it and then don't listen to me.
But I'm saying, like, Meltzer obviously is the one who gets this worst, and he's really, at the end of the day, he's the Stanley.
He gets shit on because WWE sucks so badly, and him and Alvarez say the truth. People look at them as AEW shows because they never say anything overly positive about WWE, but that's not their fault.
But do you think this is more of a problem with the product and not the people?
Yes.
And they're just being held to a different standard?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a problem when you have Meltzer wearing a Los Ingobernables t-shirt and he's praising New Japan all the time. People say, well, see, you're biased. If it wasn't in the Tokyo Dome, then, you know, he doesn't care about it. I think the problem is everyone is a fan. They're wrestling fans. Mitchell's a wrestling fan. Meltzer's a wrestling fan. You can't separate that out. Like, they have their favorites, I'm sure. He's got a track record. He's been doing it for so long, though, that I think, you know, he's built up a reputation as being somebody that you can rely on as, you know, if you read his work, it doesn't scream to me that he's biased. There are certain instances where he's rating a Young Bucks match, then yes, it does come through. He'll give them 6 stars. I don't give a shit about his star rating system. If I read The Observer, I want to know what's going on in the news, in this promotion, in that promotion. I don't see it coloring his work in that regard. So somebody like him, it doesn't bother me too much. But if I'm going to more of these events, like if we're doing a press scrum, and there's somebody who's media, and they're wearing, you know, Cody t-shirt, and they're asking Cody, how great was that match tonight? That's a little unnerving. I personally wouldn't, you know, that wouldn't be me. Some of the names you mentioned, like Sean's very good at what he does. I like Sean. Others, I don't want to comment on any of the others because I don't know all the stuff they've said. But yeah, it can be an issue if you take it too far, and you don't want to have that appearance. If you're considered media, it's like podcasters are weird because are we media? Are we press? We get press access, but I wouldn't call myself a journalist. I went to school for journalism, but I'm not a journalist.
So you like brandy?
I do like brandy, actually. I like to drink brandy every day. But, you know, if you're a journalist, you've got to make sure that there are certain lines you don't cross.
Yeah.
If you are more known for having an opinion show, you can have your opinions, and your audience is either going to trust that you're being on the straight and narrow, or maybe you have a reputation for being in the tank. I think it's like he said, it's subjective. I wouldn't be wearing a Cody t-shirt while I interview Cody because that's just weird.
But this does seem to happen a lot more now than it used to.
I've seen some of that earlier at the press room for
You probably see it today at Comic-Con. You probably saw that also. I just worry about, like, I'm just using myself as an example. I worry about myself. I've been doing my show now. Next month it's going to be 12 years that I've been doing my show. And people who've been listening to me for a long time, they know me well enough to know, like, whether I'm biased or not, and that I'm not. So, you know, if I'm talking about AEW and there was something, I have a favorite person on there. I love MJF. I'm a big MJF fan. If MJF has a match that I think sucks, my audience knows, and I'm going to say, I thought that match sucked. If MJF is in the news and he gets arrested for DUI, I'm not going to come on my show and say, well, this is first offense. You know, I'm not going to defend him. I'm going to go after him the way that I would go after anybody else. That's me. Now, maybe there are people out there who aren't like that. And
Well, yeah, and I think that's the problem, because I actually had a big fight with Mitchell last year, because he was wearing like a Golden Lovers t-shirt, and he gave like Kenny this amazing review, and I said to him, I said, you know, if I worked for Rolling Stone and my best friends were in a huge band, and they asked me to go cover that band, and I said it was the best concert I ever seen, do you think I should be taken seriously as a journalist? And then his response to me was, well, was it the best concert you ever seen? And I was just like, well, it's oversimplification. You know what I mean? Like, my brothers make records. I have many brothers that people know, but I have brothers that make albums all the time. I don't talk about them because if I say it's a great album, it's my brother. Of course I'm going to say it's a great album. And I have just like, we have indie friends, and Joey Numbers has friends in the wrestling industry for big time wrestling that work for WWE and NXT right now. We don't put them over because those are his friends. And I just feel like there's this weirdness that's going on where people are, I feel like, are currying favor to get access because they need that to survive. Like, everything is not great. Like, if your question to Brandy is like, why are you so pretty? I don't know.
I've seen some of that earlier.
I'm sure you have. And I just think that it's getting very blurred now because it's more competitive and there's more podcasts and there's more access. Like he'll tell you, today at Con, they only allowed 3 major publications to have full media credentials for AEW. What were they? Washington Post?
Washington Collider and got the other one.
Inside something?
Insider.
Yeah, Insider. No wrestling. These are the people that were allowed to have full press access to the AEW.
Do nothing about wrestling.
Does the Washington Post have a vested interest in Kenny Omega that I'm not aware of? No, but because it's the Washington Post, and they'll give it a mainstream review. Right. And these are kind of things like like we talk about in the Super a lot too, because it is a bit frustrating because like Nish always corrects me, tells me we are journalists, we are press. They're like I consider myself a commentator and a douchebag, but I'm press. Like if I cover something, it gets something.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. And there have been things that I've covered before. If I go to some of these events, like the 2K things or whatever, and I get interviews, and so that could become news if someone says something. So yeah, again, it's a fine line, and I think the audience looks to some of us. They don't subscribe to videos with us. They don't go anywhere else. They'll just listen to our shows. That's where they get their news from. So to them, in a way, we are journalists.
Right. So you can't really afford to say, Ricochet's, I love Ricochet, I've known him for 10 years, he's the best wrestler in the world.
Right, yeah, so you just got to be careful, be smart about it. I'm smart about it because when you're doing it for so long, your reputation is important. You don't want people to say, oh, that guy, everything with him is fluff, or he avoids talking about the hard stories. That's one of the things I'm interested about Fox. They're going to have a studio show. Are they going to cover negative stories about WWE?
Nope.
Punk's already said it. Punk's already said it. Like, I'm not coming in to sugarcoat anything and tell you what's good.
That was the issue with UFC. That was the issue with UFC. They have or had a similar type of show on Fox, and they were covering if somebody got into legal trouble or
John Jones.
unions, steroids, whatever. They didn't shy away from covering that stuff.
If someone like Roman Reigns is out, God forbid, on a steroid violation, he's suspended for 60 days or 30 days.
You gotta mention
I
it.
want you to cover that on the show.
Right.
I don't want you to hide it. Why is he off TV?
Exactly.
Any final thoughts before we go?
I'm excited about that. I have no idea what's going to happen. Because now you got this pumping in my head now, and I'm just like, if that's a huge deal.
I don't expect it. I want to bring all the variables to the table, but he was in Los Angeles. So
Even The Rock being there is such a big deal, having been away, and that is really his show. I mean, the show was created for him.
He had to be there. I mean, it wouldn't have made sense for him not to be there. Just remember that it's a 2-hour show, not 3 hours. And they've got a bunch of big matches. They've got a bunch of people appearing. Will Punk physically be there? I don't know. Wouldn't shock me if they made the announcement. They can only fit so much in. So I don't even want to think about it. We'll see who shows up. It'll be a big show. And as he said, we have a draft next week. Post-draft, that will tell the tale. How serious are they about this draft? Are they going to go back to just mixing the brands? Or are they going to take it seriously for the first time and actually keep a brand split, treat it like a sport? I want to see how Fox treats this.
Thank you all. Oh, you got a question?
Yeah, Fox will allow it. Maybe you guys use this.
Well, we'll see. Once it actually debuts tonight in practice, give it a few weeks, that'll tell
They're
us.
getting so much money, they have no choice, you know what I mean? $1 billion, is that a year or for 5 years?
It's a lot of money. No, that's in totality for all 5 years.
But still,
It's not $5 billion.
but still, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
They can't afford to piss off Fox.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of money,
Because
absolutely.
Fox can cancel their ass like that.
Can we just get a good Monday Night Raw?
Please.
That's all I want.
Yes.
In this new era, just give me a good Monday
Well,
night.
that's what the network's for, JD. You can just go back and watch the Raw, the Attitude Era.
Either that. If that's the case, fire Paul Heyman.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you everybody for listening live and well, I said listening live. I'm over here talking like on podcast. Thank you for everybody that showed up today. Thank you all 3 of you for coming on.
Thank you.
It was a class.
You make the body on the TV, there's a lot of